Yo, hey guys, Pop and Jacques Slade here, back with another unboxing, and today I think I have, and this is gonna be a little bit controversial, so don't get too mad at me in the comments, but I think this retro is the best retro since the actual launch of this shoe, and in many ways it could probably be stated that this Jordan 5 is better than the original Jordan 5, if it not for one small thing. Hey guys, what's poppin'? Jacques Slade here. So today we have the reimagined version of the Air Jordan 5. It's one of, I would say, it's in the top echelon of Jordan retro sneakers, and there's a lot going on with this sneaker, so let's get right into it and stop all the chit chat. So you see here, the box is the traditional box that we've seen with Jordan Brand before. And if you open up, and here we go. As you see, it has the traditional box style where it has that piece of cardboard in the middle. These look absolutely fantastic. One of the best of this series of Jordan. And I'll say a little bit more about what I mean when it comes to this series of Jordan. Not even talking about the Reimagined series. There's just something more that's happening with this shoe that can actually go all the way back to Tinker Hatfield, the guy that actually designed this sneaker. So for those that are unfamiliar, this is the Air Jordan 5 Reimagined. It's the 5th shoe in the Jordan line. And this shoe is basically Nike, or Jordan, I should say, taking the Air Jordan 5 and reimagining what it could be. To me, if I'm being totally honest with you guys, these feel less reimagined and they seemed more like a variant of the Air Jordan 5. When I think reimagined, I think really changing the shape and the look of the shoe, and this is more subtle. Obviously, it's all nuanced and that's a small difference, but overall, I really like the way these came out, and I think they have a place at the top of the Jordan 5 sort of canon, and I think this is probably number 2 on the list. So reimagined, what does that mean? So for this shoe, it's focused a lot on the piping that goes around the shoe. If those that don't know, when a shoe is made, there's a bunch of different panels that are sewn together and they're glued to the midsole. And in this situation, you see that they have this special lining around the piping. Now, this piping, you can see it here, you see it all the way around. It's basically everywhere that the shoe is stitched to another piece, you have a reflective piping. Now that's inspired by, take this out here, these come with some protectant for the reflective tongue. That's inspired by this reflective tongue here. When Tinker Hatfield originally designed the Air Jordan 5, he wanted the Jumpman to pop when Jordan was on the court. And so he added 3M reflective material to the tongue so that obviously when Jordan is going through the air or when Jordan is on the court somewhere and they're taking a picture with the flash, that it would pop off this 3M reflective material and add a little extra pop to what Michael Jordan was doing on the court. And obviously it worked because it's something that stays, and it's something that we've seen in a lot of different Jordan brand shoes over the years. Now, I don't know if this piping is the same 3M reflective materials. What it looks like is like they had the panel and then they painted a reflective material on the edge of the panel. You can kind of see it here. I'll try to pull this a little closer. You can see here, it looks like they just painted a little bit there on the edges of the panel to give it that same look. So essentially, when the light hits these, and really without the light hitting these, obviously the silver 3M is going to pop. But when the light hits these should pop a little bit more and almost give you an outline of the way that the shoe looks. The really cool thing about it though is it shows you the shape of the shoe and the shape of the panels that are on the shoe. Generally, when it's black, you kind of lose some of the definition and you lose some of the lines on the shoe. But with this upgrade, you really get to see how the panels are put together and the way that they look. Now, for you hardcore Jordan 5 fans out there, which I am not one, I like the Jordan 5, but it's not a shoe that I obsess over. They are talking a lot about the way that the toe box looks. A lot of times when Jordan Brand makes the Jordan 5, this toe box doesn't come up as far over the edge, or should come back as far over the toe. And this pair seems to be going back to that original state. Now, I've never owned an original pair of Jordan 5s, but I hear a lot of talk about it online, about this toe box and about this toe reaching back up, this piece, the toe piece reaching back up over the edge there. Now, other details about this shoe that make it unique, I would say, in the Jordan line is when Tinker Hatfield was designing the 3, 4, and the 5, he brought a lot of the same design language from the 3 to the 4 and then to the 5 as well. You don't really see that with the other shoes in the Jordan line. It's just the 3, 4, and 5 that share a lot of design language and share a lot of technology. For instance, the airbag that we see here, this was on the Air Jordan 3. Now, the midsole has been changed and is sculpted a different way than it was from the 3 or the 4, but this Air unit is exactly the same. A lot of this tooling is really iterative of what happened with the 3 and the 4, and then obviously transitioning to the 5. Another thing that we noticed is this mesh netting. This was on the Air Jordan 4. Obviously, breathability was a bigger conversation as they started to really refine the shoes that Michael Jordan was playing in. And so this was on the 4, but then we also get a taste of it on the 5 as well. Now, it isn't just a version of the 3 and the 4. The 5 does stand alone in very unique ways as well. For instance, this sculpted ankle section. So you see these, oddly enough, you see this sort of sculpted feel on the 6 as well, to kind of show you how Tinker would take parts of other shoes or previous shoes and bring them into the next signature shoe. So you see this same sculpted sort of ankle collar on the 6 as well. And here we get it as well. So it kind of just bulges out here. So we know that Michael Jordan messed up his ankle back on the Air Jordan 2, and then we went to the 3 and the 4, and those were more mid-cut. So then we came back to the 5. I don't know if it was a request from Jordan or this is just something that Tinker wanted to do or he was inspired to do, but he lifted up that ankle and added some extra collar there to give it a little more comfort and a little more cushioning there as well. Now, the tongue, which we have all seen with different versions of this shoe, is pretty thin. It's, well, I'll say it's thin by Air Jordan 5 standards. Sometimes this tongue is really, really fat and puffy, almost like a skateboard shoe, I would say. But this time, it's not thin like an Air Jordan 4, but it's not fat like a skateboard Air Jordan 5. Matter of fact, this probably would make a good skate shoe if someone wants to skate in these. Now, another thing is they have the lace lock. I was never a big fan of these. They do put them on here obviously to keep true to the OG, but I just was never a fan. This is not something that stood out to me and that I really was excited about. But if you like to have that, then you have it there. Now, the other reimagined part of these is that they come with white laces. You see here, they have white laces, and this is the way that Michael Jordan wore them in some of his games. Back then, they didn't really have players' editions of sneakers. I mean, they had some, but not really. And so switching out the laces was Jordan's way of kind of making these his own. And so you get that here as part of the reimagined story. To me, that doesn't necessarily scream reimagined, it just screams lace swap. But again, I digress. Now, the other thing about these is they added the reflective material here on the back of the heel. Now, I wasn't exactly excited about this one detail, and this is the one detail that I wish they would have not changed and kept this with the stitching. The stitching was, I don't know, it gave the shoe like almost like a crafty sort of feel, where this feels more modern. So if you look at this as a more modern take on the Air Jordan 5, I think it works. And obviously this is going to pop a lot more with those photographs if someone's taking a picture of you from behind, so you have that reflective material there. Overall, I really think I like the stitching here more than I like the use of the reflective material here on the Nike Air. Again, it's not bad, and I'm not saying that it takes away from the shoe, but I do like the feel of the stitching there. There's something about that stitching that screams like 1980s, and this feels more modern. Now, another cool thing about these is the insole. So they switched up the insole. Usually you get that cheap material, and again, this is not the best insole ever, but this is going to be more comfortable than your normal insole. So you have that going for it. So shout out to Nike for listening to us when it comes to retros and all the complaining that we do about how uncomfortable retros can be. But they've actually added a polyurethane instead of that really cheap foam that you get inside of these. I mean, at the price point, you would hope that they would take that sort of investment to make sure that these shoes are a lot more comfortable and stop some of the complaining that we do. And I think they finally hear us. So hopefully this sort of insert is going to be the standard from here on out, and Jordan Brand is actually going to invest in the comfort of these shoes as opposed to just the look of these shoes. Now, the other detail about these that make them super unique is that when Tinker was designing them, he was inspired by a World War II plane, and that's where you get these serrated teeth here on the side that look like a jaw on the front of those World War II planes. So you have that there, which was the inspiration there. But then again, transitioning from the 4 to the 5, he retains the speckled print there, or the cement print there, that you still have that sort of like a piece of the 4. It's a very interesting way to design where you take bits and pieces from the old version of the shoe or the latest generation of the shoe and tie them into the next generation to still give the essence of that old shoe, so you don't just completely make something different. A lot of times that's good, but sometimes that's bad. But I think with the Air Jordan line, it keeps the storyline going and it continues the story that we know about Michael Jordan. Now, the other thing with these is that they come with an extra set of black laces. I personally like the look of the white laces. I think it pops a little bit more and gives the shoe a different feel. But if you're into the black and you want that black like stealth sort of look, you can throw these in there. It might be interesting though with the black laces, with the addition of the reflective print on the piping, having the black laces not pop as much might put more emphasis on the rest of the shoe, whereas when you wear them with the white laces, the piping is not as highlighted as it would be because the white laces are doing a lot of the work for the shoe. Overall, I think Jordan Brand did a fantastic job with these. And again, when I say I feel like this is the best retro since the original shoe, I do feel like this shoe carries its weight and that this shoe could be the like standard for retros going forward. The Durabuck or synthetic nubuck material that they're using feels great. The glue job feels great. The quality looks good. The insoles are really, really nice. They're adding little touches to add to the shoe, to add a new element of the shoe and modernize the shoe. So in a sense, when they say reimagine with these, in my mind, this is just an updated version of the Air Jordan 5 for 2025. So this is the modern version of what this shoe would look like if it was released in this era, as opposed to, again, taking the stitching. But anyway, now, again, these are going to release for $220 later this week. It is the reimagined black metallic Air Jordan 5, a very, very long name. Shout out to the folks over at Studio 23. They actually got this pair over to me, so shout out to them. Thank you. Appreciate you hooking the boy up with these so I could do an unboxing and give you guys a closer look. But I would love to know, what do you guys think of the Air Jordan 5 reimagined black metallic? Is this, in your mind, the best version of the Air Jordan 5, a retro of the Air Jordan 5 since the original? And if not, what Air Jordan 5 is better? I know they had some in 2016 and a few different versions or different retros over the years, but I feel like this is the one that feels the most true. This is the shoe that, if you're going to remake them, this is the one that I think you do. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. As always, I appreciate you. Make sure you like, favorite, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and I'll see you soon. Peace.